The Bent Backs of GRYFINO, The Mystery of the Crooked Forest. Introduction: The Impossible Grove. Imagine you are walking through a standard, unremarkable forest in the far northwest of Poland, just a stone's throw from the German border. The air is cool, scented with pine resin and damp earth. For a while, everything is normal. The trees are straight, reaching for the Baltic sky like arrows. But then, you step across an invisible threshold, and the world begins to warp. Before you stands a grove of 400 pine trees, but these are not the straight massive ships you expect. Every single one of them, without exception, is bent at the base. They emerge from the ground, curve sharply toward the north in a smooth 90-degree J shape, and then, after a few feet of horizontal growth, they turn back toward the heavens. It looks like a forest that tried to sit down and then thought better of it. It looks like a botanical glitch in the matrix. This is Krzywy Las, the crooked forest of Poland. For nearly a century, these trees have stood as a silent wooden riddle. In a world where science claims to have mapped every corner of the globe and explained every quirk of biology, the crooked forest remains one of the few places where we truly have to say, we don't actually know. In this audio journey, we are going to walk among these bent sentinels. We will explore the 5 chapters of this mystery: the geometry of the grove itself, the shipbuilder's theory that links these trees to ancient crafts, the dark shadow of World War II and the tank theory, the natural explanations that blame the sky and the snow, and finally, the eerie folklore of a land that has seen its history erased and rewritten. Prepare yourself. The path is winding, and the truth is rarely a straight line. Chapter 1: The Symmetry of the Strange, the Layout of the Grove. The first thing you notice when you enter the crooked forest is the uniformity. If this were just a few trees, we could blame a lightning strike or a hungry deer. But there are 400 of them, all planted in a neat rectangular block. And they aren't just bent, they are all bent toward the north. This isn't the chaos of nature. Nature is messy. Nature creates knots and tangles and random growth. But the crooked forest is precise. Every tree follows the exact same arc. It's as if they were all following a set of blueprints that the rest of the forest didn't get. The trees were planted around 1930 in what was then the German province of Pomerania. At that time, the town was known as GRYFINO. It was a time of industry and order. These pines, Pinus sylvestris, are a hardy species, known for their ability to grow straight and true even in poor soil. Yet at about 7 to 10 years of age, something happened to every single one of them. In this chapter, we look at the physical evidence. We examine the knee of the tree, the point of the curve. There are no scars. There are no signs of broken bark or jagged healing. The wood is smooth, suggestively showing that the trees were manipulated when they were young and flexible. We also look at the straight forest that surrounds them. Just inches away from the crooked grove, the trees grow perfectly vertical. This suggests that whatever happened wasn't a regional event like an earthquake or a shift in the magnetic poles. It was localized. It was deliberate. It was a secret kept within the borders of one small plot of land. Chapter 2: The Hand of the Craftsman, the Compass Timber Theory. The most widely accepted theory among historians and foresters is that the crooked forest is not a miracle, but a toolkit. Before the age of plastic and steel, wood was the primary building material for the world. But wood has a weakness. It's straight. If you wanted to build something with a curve, a rocking chair, a barrel, or most importantly, the rib of a ship, you had to find a piece of wood that was already curved, or you had to steam it and bend it, which weakened the fibers. Enter the compass timber technique. For centuries, woodworkers would train trees to grow into specific shapes. By pinning a young sapling to the ground or weighing it down with heavy stones, they could force the tree to grow horizontally. Once the desired curve was achieved, they would let the leader branch grow upward again. The result was a piece of timber that was naturally curved but incredibly strong, because the grain followed the shape of the bend. In the 1930s, this area of Poland, then Germany, was a hub for small-scale industry. This chapter explores the possibility that a local craftsman was growing bent wood for specialized furniture or boat building. We look at the bentwood chairs that were famous in Europe at the time, and the traditional sledges used in the snowy Polish winters. These trees are the perfect shape for the runners of a heavy sled. But there is a flaw in this theory. If someone spent years carefully tending 400 trees, why did they never harvest them? Why leave a fortune in specialized timber to grow old and rot in the forest? The answer to that question isn't found in the wood, It's found in the history books.
Chapter 3. The Silence of the War. How History Was Erased. The trees were 7 to 10 years old when they were bent. That places the event around 1937 to 1940. If you know your history, you know that those dates represent the beginning of the end for that region of Europe. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland, and the world spiraled into the Second World War. The area around GRYFINO became a theater of intense conflict. When the war ended in 1945, the borders of Europe were redrawn. What was once German Greifenhagen became Polish GRYFINO. The German population fled or was expelled, and Polish settlers moved in to rebuild from the ruins. In the chaos of war, the person who bent the trees likely died or was forced to leave, taking the secret of the grove with them. This chapter is a meditation on the lost knowledge of the 20th century. We explore the idea that the crooked forest is a ghost of a vanished industry. But there is a darker theory involving the war itself. Some believe that the trees weren't bent by craftsmen, but by tanks. During the invasion, or perhaps during the Soviet push toward Berlin in 1945, a division of heavy armored vehicles may have rolled over the young saplings. If the trees were small enough, they wouldn't have snapped. They would have been flattened into the mud. If they stayed pinned down under the weight of debris or snow for a long winter, they might have begun to grow horizontally before finally righting themselves. We look at the logistics of this mechanical bending and why, despite its popularity, many foresters think it's impossible for tanks to create such uniform, perfectly north-facing curves. Chapter 4. The Fury of the Sky: Snow, Gravity, and Mutation. While the hand of man theory is the most logical, scientists have to look at the hand of nature as well. Could the crooked forest be a natural freak show? One theory suggests a catastrophic snowfall. Imagine a spring where the saplings are just starting to grow. A massive, heavy, wet snowfall hits, pinning the young trees to the ground. If a long deep freeze followed, the trees could have been trapped in that J shape for months. By the time the thaw came, the trees had already begun to lignify, to turn from soft green shoots into hard wood, in that bent position. There is also the question of genetic mutation. Is there something in the DNA of these specific 400 trees that makes them allergic to growing straight? We look at reaction wood, the way a tree produces extra cells on one side to counter the force of gravity. In the crooked forest, the reaction wood is on the outside of the curve, proving the trees were fighting to stand back up. In this chapter, we also address the energy vortex and magnetic anomaly theories that populate the fringes of the internet. While there is no scientific evidence of a magnetic shift in GRYFINO, the psychological effect of the forest is undeniable. People feel watched. They feel a sense of wrongness. We look at how our brains struggle to process a landscape that defies the verticality we expect from nature. Why does a bent tree feel more like a warning than a straight one? Chapter 5. The Dying Grove: The Future of the Bentbacks. The crooked forest is not eternal. The trees are nearly a century old now. In the world of pines, that's middle-aged. But because of their strange shape, these trees are under immense physical stress. The weight of their massive trunks is not supported by a straight vertical line. It's pulling on that curved knee every single day. One by one, the bent giants are beginning to fail. They are succumbing to rot, to the wind, and to the simple physics of their own weight. Within the next few decades, the crooked forest will likely be gone, replaced by the straight, normal trees that are already beginning to grow in the gaps. In this final chapter, we look at the status of the forest as a monument of nature. We discuss the conservation efforts and the debate over whether we should try to replicate the forest. If we don't know how it was done, should we experiment on new saplings to try and find out? Or should we let the mystery die with the last of the original trees? The crooked forest is a reminder that there are still gaps in our story. It is a place where history, industry, and nature collided in a way that produced something beautiful and baffling. As the sun sets through the J-shaped trunks, casting long, distorted shadows across the Polish soil, we realize that some secrets are meant to be kept by the rings of the trees. They don't need to be solved to be respected. Outro: The Straight and the Narrow. We have walked the halls of the bent forest and felt the weight of a century of silence. From the shipbuilders of the 1930s to the tanks of the 1940s, the crooked forest of GRYFINO remains a testament to the fact that even the most rigid things in nature can be bent, but they will always try to reach back toward the light. It is a place that challenges our perspective and reminds us that behind every strange sight, there is a human story, often lost to the winds of war and time. The trees of GRYFINO may never tell us their secret, but they have certainly given us something to wonder about. If you like content like this, deep dives into the world's most eerie natural anomalies, the hidden history of the landscape, and the mysteries that refuse to be solved, please like this content and subscribe to the channel. Your support is what allows us to keep exploring the crooked paths of our world and bringing the results back to you. What do you think happened in GRYFINO? Was it a craftsman, a tank, or a miracle of the snow? Let us know your theories in the comments below. We read everyone. Thank you for listening, and until our next journey, keep your eyes open.
the world is much stranger than it looks. Thank you.